Welcome to the 7th annual Bond University Gold Coast Demo Day. Let me begin by paying my respect to the people of the Yugambeh language, the traditional custodians of the land upon which we meet, and to pay my respect to their elders past and present. Let me extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be joining us on this live stream. Yes, this is the 7th annual Gold Coast Demo Day, a proud showcase of all things entrepreneurial that are happening on the Gold Coast. We have 6 pitches coming to you this evening, all the way from the future of our economy, the youth. We've got 15-year-old Ella Foster from St Andrews Lutheran College on the southern end of the Gold Coast, tackling food security by focusing on the health of bees, all the way to a funded tech company, Eggy, husband and wife team, Katie and Kirk, taking a real human approach to problem solving of what life is all about. They're joining a collection of Gold Coast-based startups that have pitched annually at the Gold Coast Demo Day event run by Bond University each year. Companies such as service.com.au pitched at our 2014 event, our lead-off event. They now employ over 30 staff here in Surfers Paradise. They've won Telstra Business of the Year Excellence Awards. They're great supporters of the local Gold Coast innovation ecosystem. Hats off to you, service.com.au and the team in really supporting our local community. In 2017, we had Michael from Kind, a platform that connects people needing NDIS care with people who can provide that care in a direct relationship. Since pitching at Gold Coast Demo Day in 2017, he's successfully raised an equity round and just recently was awarded a coveted Commercialisation Australia grant. And then there's Auto Guru, for the 3rd year in a row being nominated as one of Australia's 10 most innovative firms by the Australian Financial Review. We really do showcase the whole gamut of entrepreneurial capability here on the Gold Coast, proving that we are indeed the enterprise city. There are more businesses registered here on the Gold Coast per capita than any other major economic region in Australia. It's a great place to start a business. So let's talk about this evening and the people that we have coming for you, the 6 startups that are going to be presented to you. We'll begin with a cohort of 3. We'll have a brief intermission and then we'll finish off the evening with our final 3. They're all sitting behind me in the room behind, and let's make our way into the hot seat and see what we've got. Follow me inside. So here we are at Cohort Innovation Space. Cohort is one of the central innovation centres on the Gold Coast. It's located in Southport, right in the centre of the Gold Coast. It's part of the broader Gold Coast Health and Knowledge Precinct, which is a real hotbed for health tech, med tech innovation right here on the Gold Coast. One of the most beautiful parts of the world. What I'd like to do is hand across to Professor Terry O'Neill, the Executive Dean of the Bond Business School. He's going to formally welcome you to the 7th annual Bond University Gold Coast Demo Day. Away to you, Terry.
Thank you, Baden. Welcome to the Gold Coast Demo Day, Bond Business School's annual event featuring some of Queensland's brightest minds pitching their business ideas. This year, the event looks a little different. This year, Gold Coast Demo Day is virtual, giving you unprecedented access to watch the Gold Coast most promising entrepreneurs live from anywhere in the world. This event is also being recorded for your convenience, so you can refer to the Bond University YouTube channel at any time to watch this again. We are streaming live, so you can comment or ask questions throughout the presentations, and Baden will read these out to you. So, why are we committed to running this event each year? Bond Business School is passionate about entrepreneurship and innovation. It features as one of our 3 research pillars and is embedded within our events, classes, industry contacts and community outreach. We run study tours to Silicon Valley, a 12-week business accelerator subject, and every single business student learns to open and close a business in our business model, generation and execution subjects. We also want to educate the community, because there can be a perception that people only require entrepreneurial skills if they intend to become an entrepreneur and set up their own business. But often employers seek an entrepreneurial mindset in their recruits. Our business graduates are able to spot gaps in the market and innovate because they are commercially minded. The Gold Coast is Australia's innovation hotspot, and Bond University is proud to showcase 6 startup teams in various stages of development. Tonight we welcome Ella Foster from St Andrew's Lutheran College, presenting Essential Bees. Vipin Danu from our own Bond Transformer program, presenting Generative Arts. Emma Patterson from Gold Coast Hub, presenting Indirectory. Paul Mccarty from Cohort Innovation Space, presenting Securestack. Michael Spencer, presenting Stacked Farm. And finally, Kate Morgan and Kurt Reynoldson, presenting Eggy. I hope you enjoy the event. Thank you. Over to you, Baden.
Wonderful to have you here, Terry, and thank you so much for your continued support of the entrepreneurial endeavours at Bond University. At Bond, we really treasure our entrepreneurial roots, and it's wonderful to have leadership such as yours to be at these events and to show leadership from the top. I'm going to begin tonight with a bit of a problem that's not actually connected to our first pitch, but a problem that is related to our first pitch. It's the fact that as of October this year, the youth unemployment rate was 15.6%. That's 1 in 6 of our 15 to 24-year-olds who are out of work looking for work. And it's worse than that. Recent reports show that in addition to that 15%, there's a further 22% that are underemployed. They're underutilised. Yes, they may be in some form of employment, but that employment is not what they're exactly looking for. So think about that for a moment. That's 37% of our 15 to 24-year-olds who are out there looking for work are either completely unemployed or are underemployed. This is certainly an environmental issue. The pandemic is certainly contributing to that, but it's more than that. Today's workforce requires a different set of skills. It requires young people to come into the workforce ready to engage with enterprise, ready to engage with innovative organisations that are driving the future of our economy. And so we see some progressive schools starting to engage in entrepreneurship education and in enterprise education. And one such school is St Andrew's Lutheran College down in Tallebudgera on the southern end of the Gold Coast. St Andrews has a proud history of focusing on nurturing the individual and empowering lifelong learners, and they're doing that in a wonderful way by providing an opportunity for select students to come into a co-curricular program called the Innovate and Create program. Innovate and Create has a wonderful little acronym, I see possibilities, I see opportunities, lots of ways to play around with that. That program has been running for 4 or 5 years now, and one of the stars of the current program is Ella Foster. Ella's in grade 9, a 15-year-old student, and she's tackling a very significant issue, that of food security and the health of bees. I'd like to pass you across and welcome the very first presenter for Gold Coast Demo Day 2020, Ella Foster. Over to you, Ella.
A few years ago, to my disappointment, I was noticing bees that were dead or dying in my backyard. This frequent occurrence became a real concern to me, and it got me wondering why all these bees were dying and what I could do to help. I now know that over 10 million bee colonies across the globe between 2007 and 2013 were lost, and these numbers continue to drop dramatically. Bees are becoming extinct for a variety of reasons, such as increasing climate, habitat loss and economical growth, the use of chemicals, intensive farming practices, and the use of chemicals and pesticides. If we don't act soon, all these bees will die, and a world without bees is a world without humans. It is a well-known fact that bees are vital for the preservation of the ecosystem and biodiversity in nature. They support the growth of trees, plants, and flowers, which all act as shelters for many creatures. In fact, just a single bee colony can pollinate around 300 million flowers each day, and around 90% of the world's nutrition comes from food crops assisted by pollinators. Bees' crucial service of pollination makes food production possible. In order to encourage the bees to populate and pollinate, I have created an eco-friendly kit which I call Essential Bees. Inside this eco-friendly package, it has an information sheet with instructions and a QR code which links to my website. There is also a packet of seeds. These seeds grow flowers that attract the bees and encourage pollination. These flowers are vital, and we currently don't have enough of these in our ecosystem. Once we restore this ecosystem, it'll definitely mean that the bee population will increase. This kit is easy to use and can be done by anyone. All you need is a planter box, pot plant, or garden. One of the business models to distribute these variety of seed packets is to be given away at large supermarkets in order to reach the masses. My personal research has shown that 88% of people surveyed collected these Woolworths and Coles collectible items, and that 95% of people preferred the Discovery Garden over the current Ooshies, which are detrimental to our environment. The second business model is to be sold at Bunnings or stores like Bunnings or Mitre 10. So the profit will be able to further produce these products, and the remaining profit can go to funds and organisations such as bee conservations. This would appeal to both outlets as they have an environmental responsibility and initiative, as well as this would satisfy the large amount of customers who too want to help the environment. This small gesture to improve the sustainability of the environment and customer perception of the supermarket. Currently, there are similar products to this on the market. However, this product will have a focus on education over profit. Today, I'm asking for connections to large supermarkets and possibly to manufacture these products, as well as connecting to big supermarket chains and sourcing these seeds, all to make this great idea a reality. Thank you for being great.
How wonderful was Ella? A wonderful way to start our evening tonight. Ella, tell us, you've been through the Innovate and Create program. What was one of the hardest things that you were faced with coming up with this business idea through the Innovate and Create program?
Probably one of the hardest things was finding an idea that was suitable to today's society that wasn't already taken or developed, and yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes we think that we need to come up with the world's greatest idea and something that's never been done before. But often I think if we just look inside ourselves and connect with something we're passionate about, it doesn't need to be different. You just need to be able to do it differently yourself. So it's wonderful that you're able to connect with something that was personal to you. Also, can you tell me perhaps something that you were most excited about, something that you really enjoyed about the program?
One of the things I really enjoyed from the program was meeting all these new people that I could share experiences with, and learning the process of getting your business to a stage where you can actually put it on the market and try and see how it goes in today. Yeah.
Well done, Ella. I think you'll all agree.
Thank you.
Such confidence at such a young age. It's a credit to the work that's being done at St Andrews. For those who are perhaps a bit uninitiated as to what's happening in secondary schools, there's this real momentum to deliver 21st century work skills and enterprise skills and entrepreneurial mindset into our youth. Schools are developing co-curricular programs, are starting to be embedded into classes in years 8, 9 and 10. And I think before too long we'll start to see it as a core pedagogy that sits in throughout the curriculum at our secondary and primary school levels. Not all of us are lucky enough to go to a secondary college that delivers such a wonderful program like St Andrews does down at Tallabudgera. Perhaps we might go through our primary and secondary education process without ever having been exposed to entrepreneurship education. But luckily, many universities around the world are starting to deliver entrepreneurship education, both in an extracurricular way, but also within the core curriculum of the program. And such is the case at Bond University. I mentioned earlier that entrepreneurship is in our DNA at Bond University. We were founded by an iconic entrepreneur here in Australia, and we've continued to drive that through our curriculum, through the very fabric of the way in which the university operates. One such program that we offer across campus is called the Transformer program. This Transformer program allows students from all different disciplines. It doesn't need to be just somebody who's studying business. This can be someone who's studying medicine, perhaps doing psychology, someone who's doing commercial law. It doesn't really matter what they're up to. They're able to engage in the Transformer program and collect around issues that are of interest to them. Different students from different faculties with a united mindset to go and make a difference on a problem that is meaningful to them. This Transformer program draws students from across campus and includes our next presenter, Vipin Danu. Vipin is an architect by training. He's really passionate about sustainable development and he's completely enamored with the world of interactive technologies. He's a complete whiz with the fields of augmented reality, of virtual reality, and he is able to bring to life in a completely different way material and understanding that perhaps we get in the written word or someone talks to us across from a camera. It completely changes the way that you can understand concepts that are in the world. Vipin is one of the nicest men you will ever meet. He's got a smile that's as wide as the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It's massive, and he's our next presenter. Over to you, Vipin.
Thank you for the amazing introduction, Valen. That's really, it's my pleasure to be here. And as Baden explained, my passion is about sustainability. And while doing research, I found that 300 million people are going to be affected by rising sea levels. And as a result, I came up with a project called Aftermath to encompass the visualization and interactive, and using interactive medium to show people what's really happening elsewhere in the world. So I come from a small island nation, Mauritius, in the Indian Ocean. And we're a very small country. To give you a size approximation, it's 200 kilometers square with 1.2 million people. And upon completing my architecture degree, went back home and realized that the shoreline has shrunk, well, in some parts dramatically. Why is this important, you may ask, is because these are homes to fishermen, people who live along the coast, UN heritage sites, but most importantly, which is the main source of income for Mauritius, is tourism. So effects of rising sea levels not only affect islands, but all the coastal areas in the world. So we have an issue of divided opinion and awareness, and research has shown that there's still a certain percentage of people who are still unaware of what's happening elsewhere. And did some research and found that there's work being done to raise awareness, but it's in form of text, as you can see, and it's sometimes too much to take in. One of the best ways to kind of bring people and bring awareness is to actually, experience it yourself. So flying at the moment is, unfortunately not possible in many places of the world, but also is expensive to kind of see firsthand. Sending pictures to people we thought would be good, but then it will be easily discarded. So we thought, how about creating a time machine? A time machine, you may ask. Yes, we do possess the technology currently to create such a device via virtual reality. And research has shown that immersing someone in a virtual reality environment, increases empathy. So the premise is you wear a headset, and via use of controllers in either hand, you can interact with the space around you. And here's a short clip of my of the environment I created. So this is an environment impacted by climate change, but also issues like ocean plastics, which gets washed ashore. But not only humans are affected. You have animals, as you can see in the video, often stuck in plastic bag or debris from ashore. So this VR experience allows you to firsthand experience what's happening to this virtual environment, but also to lend a helping hand. The premise of this project was initially to tackle key SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, at the center of which is the climate action, but also looking at what's happening on land, but also at sea. The value of such a project is that it's scalable, so it can be to any scale. Modular, can be adapted and fit. We can fit in any environment, but more importantly, given our current environment we live in today, circumstances, it's transcendent. So it can be deployed anywhere in the world. So the project, the initial Aftermath project was about developing small island nation. How about creating one for a developed country like Australia? Imagine having the Sydney Opera House being submerged by water. That would instantly create an impact, but also raise discussions and investigations. So the market for VR is currently on the rise, exponential rise, and I'm looking for partnerships with institutions such as universities, but also with museums to display the project. But also it might be of interest to property developers to foresee the impact of rising sea level or climate change on their future developments. And councils may be a really good partnership as well, as they can provide information and modeling 3D models, modeling tools to kind of visualize a local space like Gold Coast, for instance. But also United Nations to bring that to the next level up. So Aftermath kind of makes you visualize the future space that has been impacted by rising sea levels. And the reason I did this was that so people can ensure that our pristine shorelines remain like this for generations to come. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful, Vipin, and I love that you're connecting through to something that's very close to home and that you're able to connect and to bring your particular skills to address a problem that's dear to you and also really connected to your history and to your family and to your place. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the world of virtual reality, of augmented reality? How does an architect find their way into technology?
That's a good question. Initially, the studies I did in the UK was focused on animations, and I thought the next level up would be game engines, which allows for interaction that's unparalleled with normal animations. But then, following my completion of the course, I went back home and realized that, oh, there's so much potential with this technology. And upon starting my dual masters at Bond, I thought it's the opportune moment to kind of bring everything together and make something meaningful and not only games and visualization, something more impactful.
I think we can all connect to that understanding of really enjoying the gaming space and the effect that VR had on gaming, right? And often new technologies that come through markets have a beachhead in some particular industry and then begin to go into adjacent areas, and I think such is the case with where you're going. Tell me also, with these, typically you're at the beginnings of the use of this technology into this industry. Take me like 10 years' time, where do you see this going? What do you think the impact of a technology such as virtual reality can have on our understanding of climate change?
Yeah, so currently, it's as shown in the graph, there's an exponential rise, and with especially Oculus, they've brought down the prices of the VR headset to such an extent that it's actually accessible to almost anyone. And in the future, you can actually foresee every household to have at least one, and that gives enormous potential at raising awareness, and not only also gaming, but about what's happening elsewhere. So the idea of a time machine, everyone having a time machine in their house is actually quite powerful.
I love your visions about this, and using such an accessible term like a time machine really allows us to visualize what that capability of this type of technology might be. It's been wonderful having you here for Gold Coast Demo Day, Vipin. You're a wonderful credit to our university. Well done. Congratulations on your pitch.
Thank you so much.
So to round out the first cohort of our pitches this evening, is a woman who I've known for about 3 or 4 years now, and I'll get to where that connection came from in a moment. So let's imagine that you've gone through your schooling and you haven't been exposed to entrepreneurship education. You've been through university and that hasn't been there for you. And yet we know that entrepreneurial capability can be developed through targeted educational intervention. So what does a community member who hasn't had that benefit through their experience do? Well, how can you go out and start to build your capability in becoming a better entrepreneur, a better skilled entrepreneur? And I'll say to you today, there's no doubt in my mind that entrepreneurship can be learned. Yes, a person can be born perhaps with a set of traits that make them a little bit more entrepreneurial than others, just like someone could be born with golfing skills or artistic skills, yes? And there's a capability for us to be able to attach ourselves to any particular individual and to move their entrepreneurial capability to the right, to be able to increase the way in which they're able to sense opportunity, to seize opportunity, and to transform opportunity into new ventures, either new nascent entrepreneurial ventures or new ventures within organizations. And one of the ways that a community member can begin this process is through an event called Startup Weekend. Perhaps you've heard of Startup Weekend, perhaps you haven't. If you haven't, then it's a little bit surprising because Startup Weekend has now been operating for decades. Over 200,000 people around the world, across over 150 countries, have participated in a Startup Weekend. And here on the Gold Coast, we've been running Startup Weekend since 2013, the very first Startup Weekend that was housed in a little innovation lab that was called Silicon Lakes back in the day. We've now grown into an event that happens at least once a year. And in 2017, our next presenter turned up on a whim, presented herself on the Friday evening to pitch an idea for the 2017 version of Startup Weekend Gold Coast. To give you an idea about what Startup Weekend is, people come in the afternoon, they pitch on Friday in front of people they've never met before. They form teams around what are perceived to be the most feasible or best or coolest ideas, or the person who perhaps can pitch it the best. And over the next 54 hours, there's targeted mentoring from expert entrepreneurs from the local region, which builds out those people's networks and their connections into gaining expertise from others. There's targeted workshops to build particular skills, like customer discovery, like how to validate, like what is a minimally viable product, how do I effectively pitch myself, all of those types of activities. And then Sunday night is the gala event. People stand up, there's raucous applause, there's prizes to be won, and the greatest prize of all is the respect and kudos of those that are in that room that have supported you along the way. So our next presenter, Emma Patterson, turned up in 2017 and pitched the very beginnings of the company that has become Indirectory. And without letting too much more away, I'm going to hand you across to our next presenter. Please welcome to the stage, Emma Patterson, presenting Indirectory.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Baden. I always appreciate your enthusiasm. My name is Emma. I am the sole female founder of Indirectory, and we are revolutionising the way retail stores discover and buy from wholesaling brands. I've spent the last 15 years building 4 successful businesses. I started in my 20s by providing creative services to hundreds of brands, including Disney and Cotton On. I then went on to develop my own homewares range, which I built up and exited. I spent 7 years with that homewares range exhibiting at trade shows, getting super frustrated with the problems that trade shows presented. So of course, I started my own trade show company and produced 3 large events in Melbourne and Sydney, but as a trade show producer who actually cared about the small businesses that were attending the events, I continued to be extremely frustrated with the problems that trade shows presented. So every retail store, from your big online outlets like The Iconic, down to your little bricks and mortar stores on the corner, gift shops, fashion boutiques, that sort of thing, they each have someone who is responsible for sourcing the products that they carry on their shelves. The way that these buyers have sourced these products in the past has been trade shows. Trade shows are no longer the best way for these buyers to source their product. Trade shows are expensive, a poor return on investment, they're costly, they're exhausting, and they're really hit and miss. It was no surprise to me that after interviewing a bunch of retailers before we had a global pandemic, that around half of them were not wanting to visit trade shows ever again. So they've been using other methods to try and get their products. So including spending countless hours trawling through websites and things online, retailers waste up to $10,000 trying to find the perfect brands to stock in their stores, and brands can waste around $30,000 hoping to be discovered by these retailers at just the right time. So I use my experience in this industry, which I like to consider myself an expert in wholesale buying, to spot a gap in the way that businesses connect with each other. So the retailers are the prize in this dynamic. They want to give the green light to the buyers that they like, and they don't want attention from the brands that they like, and they don't want attention from the brands that they don't like. So they've done this at trade shows by approaching the booth or scanning their badge so they can give them their information. This is similar to what you might do if you go into a store. You might be interested in the products, you might sign up to their marketing, to receive their marketing. So you're giving that brand the green light to pursue you. Now, I've developed an app which facilitates this dynamic online without the restrictions of physical trade shows. Indirectory is a B2B networking app that connects compatible product brands to stores all year round, and it simply works from the swipe of a finger or one click. So brands and retailers create profiles, they swipe left for skip and right for love on each other's profiles, and if the feeling is mutual, they can match and share business information and work their way down what is around about a 3-week funnel from discovery to sale, and they can do this really easily all year round. Most of the buyers we've spoken to want to do their buying all year round, and they look for brands every day. Simple, right? So does it work? Absolutely. Since our official launch this August, we boast over 1,200 users on the app, businesses on the app, and we just exceeded our 10,000th match last week, so that's pretty exciting. And we've facilitated countless new B2B relationships. We have doubled our user base in 5 weeks during the COVID period, because everyone is obviously spending time online, and all the physical trade shows were cancelled, and they're now reopening, but they're actually quite restricted. We have exceeded our revenue targets, which means that we're actually keeping ourselves afloat and almost profitable just in the 4 months since we officially launched, which is pretty exciting. We brought on 60 premium brands. We welcomed some amazing buyers, including 2 head buyers from The Iconic, and we have launched our Android app last week to complement our iOS app. So this is Anissa. She is one of the head buyers from The Iconic. She said she's been swiping so much that she's worried her husband might get suspicious, and she's looking forward to when they can use Indirectory as their main portal for accepting brand submissions. So you can imagine what it'd be like to be like The Iconic. They're getting hundreds of emails a day from brands saying, do you like my stuff? And they have to employ someone to to filter through all of that. So we can facilitate that with the swipe of a finger. So we've already got the cost per converted lead down to almost half that of your average trade show, which is really exciting. Our only competition are trade shows, as I said, that have a poor return on investment. Instagram, which isn't designed for wholesale B2B at all. I mean, the products that these brands are trying to advertise to buyers aren't going to be seen on the shelves to members of the public for another 3 to 6 months. And there is a small collection of online marketplaces, but they don't consider the full 3-week funnel, and they also charge commission on sales, which brands consider to be a punishment for their success. So we have a freemium business model, which is around about $50 per month, subscriptions to unlock premium features, saving users thousands of dollars annually. Here's our total addressable market. We've got 3.5 billion in Australia and New Zealand, all the way up to the global B2B market, which is $34.4 billion. Once we become the connecting tissue between brands and retailers, we can expand into other revenue streams. At the moment, we're servicing the homewares, fashion and gift space, so we can move across into sporting equipment, that sort of thing. We can develop more advertising partnerships. We've already got a couple, which is really exciting. And there is always data sales as well. So what's next? We're going to roll out our web app to complement our iPhone and our Android app. And we're going to implement more paid features, expand to the other English-speaking countries, and onboard another 10,000 businesses. This is my amazing team. Oh, wow, we've come a long way. We also have 4 business and marketing and IT interns, which are awesome. Between us, we have so many years' experience in double-sided marketplaces, digital marketing, and wholesale. And we've worked with some companies such as Google and Microsoft and Stripe. So we are working the next few months to validate this projected revenue. We know we'll reach our goals eventually, but we'll probably be looking to raise early next year in order to fast track that success. So we're very much open to introductions at this stage, and that's how you can help. So please introduce us to also retailer buyers, where we're focusing on developing our retailer user base at the moment, while COVID is making things tricky. And also we are looking for some future co-founders, especially in the technical or operations area. So if you feel like you're a match for Indirectory, I'd love you to swipe right and get in touch with me.
I love the pitch, Emma, and it's been wonderful to see your journey over the last 3 years. I loved you reeling off your team that currently exists behind Indirectory. I want to take you back to 2017 and think about that weekend and where Indirectory was at and how things are the same now, but perhaps a little bit different as well. What's your recollection about the difference in the business in those short 3 years?
Well, of course, when I pitched the idea, it was just an idea that I had to cram into 1 minute, given your coaching. And since then, I've made all the mistakes one can make when learning how to develop an app, making all the wrong decisions. And yeah, I was kind of taking my time with it. But then when COVID happened, I realised that now's the time to go all in with the business. So, just supporting the industry to connect online when not even trade shows, which were already not a fun time, isn't even an option. So,
yeah, cool. I'm keen to know about this onboarding of staff, right? Because as an early stage startup where you're still trying to figure out what your product is, perhaps you don't have a lot of traction in the market. So a person choosing to exit from another piece of employment and come and be part of your team, what do you think the magic is? Is it just like your passion and your vision? Is that what they buy into?
Wow. Yes, I mean, I want them to obviously have aligning values with us. We really want to help small business owners. We really want to, support local And also like artisans that are working, remotely, they can't afford to go to trade shows at the best of times. So if that resonates, if our mission resonates, with you, then please reach out. It'd be awesome.
It's magic. It's wonderful to see you here, Emma. Congratulations on your pitch. I've got a personal connection to Emma's business model. In my early 20s, my very first business was a wholesale fashion company. I was living in the United States and I was importing Australian fine merino wool clothing across, and I was turning up to the Chicago Merchandise Mart, this young 20-odd-year-old Australian trying to sell to the big brands and to the big retail stores. Certainly a nerve-wracking event, and I can really empathise with that understanding of the fear of trade shows and how to actually get ROI out of a trade show. So it's wonderful to see that technology has brought a way of that being able to be created virtually and to be behind the comfort of a screen to be able to perhaps do those matches. So we're about to take a short little break, a bit of an intermission to catch our breath, to allow us to reflect upon the wonder that we've seen on stage in our first three pitches. To quickly recap, tonight was kicked off by the magic Ella Foster from St Andrews Lutheran College, pitching a vision for the way in which we can address waste, how we can address food security, how we can help populations of bees, while all the while trying to beautify our own gardens. It's amazing the vision and clarity of a young person and the way in which they can see so clearly such a simple solution to such a complex problem. We moved from solving food security across to understanding climate change and how a technology that it's making its way through different industries can help to augment our current understanding of what that issue is. So climate change, obviously there's lots of stats that are coming to us from all types of external engagements. Perhaps we can start to visualise that. We can start to see, well, what does that mean for me in my backyard? What would the Sydney Opera House look like with acid rain pouring down on it for 20 years and with sea levels 1.5 metres higher? What would that actually look like? And how likely is that to occur? We then finished off with Emma Patterson, in directory, a new way for brands to connect with retailers with the ease of a swipe left or a swipe right. Let's take a little bit of a break and we'll come back with you very, very shortly.
Hey Siri, what's a transformer?
A transformer is a static electrical device that transfers electrical energy between two or more circuits.
I think I have one of those in my car.
A transformer? What's that got to do with Bond?
This is the Bond transformer right here.
The Transformer program is your opportunity to start something. It's open to all students who have a big idea.
A problem that needs to be solved.
A product or service to be sold.
Or an idea that could change the world.
You'll have access to dedicated coaches.
Like me.
And classmates and teammates.
Like us.
To take your idea from the early stages into a real-life business.
You'll also have access to masterclasses and showcases to upgrade your skill set.
And connect with industry experts and potential investors.
All of this in a collaborative learning space. So that's the Transformer. Talk to us about how to get involved in the program so that you can start up a business right here at Bond.
In a world of universities, there's standard and there's standout. Standard is stadium-like lecture theatres where you get lost in the crowd. Standout is where lecturers can count their students on just 2 hands. Standard is where your degree seems to drag on and on. Standout is an accelerated structure where you finish a year ahead of the crowd. Standard is really hoping you land that job once you're done. Standout is preparing you to land that job from your first day and beyond. In a world of standard, be a standout.
So welcome back to the 2020 7th Annual Bond University Gold Coast Demo Day. We've had 3 excellent pitches to start us off. We've had a quick little break. Perhaps you had a cup of coffee or a glass of water, and we're back for the second cohort of pitches for this evening. Our next pitch, the gentleman who's pitching this particular business hails from Detroit, Michigan, but he has chosen the beautiful Australia's Gold Coast to raise his family. Sometimes opportunities for new business ventures come by having and developed particular expertise in a field and a discipline, and then being able to sense an opportunity just adjacent to that expertise. Perhaps a new technology comes through that enables work to be done a little bit differently. Perhaps a technology that's been around for a while starts to be accepted by a marketplace. Timing is often very important in the launch of an entrepreneurial venture, and such is the case with Securestack. We have a team that has deep experience in industry, and they've been able to see the rise of a significant issue that is addressing not only with big corporates, with lots of small to medium enterprise. A little personal anecdote. Late last year, my wife and I run a small business here on the Gold Coast, and we were hacked. We came in one morning and to an email that was sitting up and a note that was on our screen saying, you need to download this browser, you need to go onto the dark web, you need to send us some money, and then we might be able to send you a decryption code. And of course, we were a little bit smarter than following that little gravy train. But it didn't stop us from having to spend a few $1,000s getting some tech people in to try and recreate what was our business prior to that event. So Paul Mccarty is our next presenter. As I said, he hails from Detroit, Michigan, but he's made the good choice and come down to the sunny Gold Coast. He's pitching a company called Securestack. Over to you, Paul.
Ben, thank you for the intro. I appreciate it. My name is Paul Mccarty. I am the CTO and one of the founders of Securestack. So somebody once famously said that software is eating the world, right? And the way I interpret that means that basically our society has become dependent on applications in a very quick period of time. And there we go, catching up. We've become dependent as a society on these applications in a very quick period of time, right? Everybody has an app nowadays, right? We all have an online presence, right? We buy our food, we shop for cars, we talk to our friends, and guess what? We even find partners sometimes via these apps, right? So we become dependent on these as a society, but who builds these applications, right? I mean, the average Australian spends more than 3 hours a day on their phone interacting with apps. That's a lot of time. Who's building these applications, right? So the software development industry is a huge part of our current prosperity. They contribute, get ready for this, over $1 trillion to the global economy every year. $1 trillion, that's a T, right? That's huge. Now, unfortunately, here's the dirty secret. Most of the applications that industry builds and deploys, are insecure, right? That's huge. This is even worse now because during the pandemic, attacks against these applications have increased by 600%. 600%. This is a huge issue. This is actually a war. Baden spoke about this at his business. This war that a lot of people are not talking about, this application security war, guess what? We're losing that war, right? I've been in the IT industry a long time. It's a little bit embarrassing, but I've actually been in the IT industry 30 years next year. 30 years. And in that time, I've helped deploy a lot of applications. I've helped to build a lot of applications. And the reality is there's one reason for the fact that we're building all these insecure applications. It's the fact that the IT industry and the startup community doesn't prioritize security. Instead, and all the startup founders in this room right now can attest to this, it's all about speed and delivery of features, right? When you ask your developer to build something, you're not necessarily asking them to secure it, you're asking them to build it quickly. And so our metric of success for these software developers is simply how quickly you can deploy this feature, not how secure it is, right? And we all understand this at some level. But let's think for a second, what if we held the same metric of success for bus drivers? If we said to them, hey, the most important part of your job is to get from the beginning of your route to the end of it as quickly as possible. It's probably not very scalable, right? And that effectively, unfortunately, is what we're doing with application development, with software development. The problem is, I think a lot of us think China, Russia, North Korea, these are the threats that we have to worry about. Sure, certainly, those are threats. But the real threat is actually the people developing these applications, right? 95% of all breaches in the cloud are self-inflicted These are simple misconfigurations and not understanding what you just built in the cloud. That is our problem. And that is the issue that Securestack fixes. This is how Securestack is revolutionizing software development, right? What we've done is we've said 30 years now where we've been trying to bring software developers to security. That ain't working. It just ain't. It's a failure. Instead, what Securestack does is flips that on its head. It says, hey, we're going to bring security to the developer. We're going to make it really easy for them to consume. And even better, we're going to build it in such a way that they can embed it into the stuff they already do. They can use the tools they're using and the processes they're already using, and Securestack plugs right in. Bada bing, bada boom. And guess what? Society wins. Because then what we're doing is we're embedding security early in the process, where it's 6 times cheaper to address security at the beginning than at the end, which is where most of the time we are trying to fix this stuff, right? So how do we do this? How does Securestack work? Well, first and foremost, we are a subscription-based product. We have a monthly subscription that our customers pay for, and we help them. We start them out by having them point their application, the one they care the most about. And in many cases, I say, hey, what's the application that pays your mortgage? If you're a startup founder, if you're one of us, probably start with your SaaS. Point our tools at it. We will scan it and give you some visibility that you've never had before. We will help you understand what you do really well. And then we'll help you understand what you need some help with, right? And even better, we're not just going to tell you about those issues. We're going to say, hey, we actually give you a way to address those security or availability problems. And guess what? There's a little fix button there. If you want to, you click that, you increase your subscription, and we will automate that fix into your application automatically using our automation engine. And automation, frankly, is how we're going to win this war, this application security war. Again, Paul Mccarty, Securestack, thank you very much.
Great pitch, Paul. You always nail it. And for those who haven't seen you before, you've been a stalwart of the GC startup scene for a number of years now, constantly giving and supporting others. So it's great to see you up here presenting your own business. Little word on the street tells me that the Securestack might have gone through a bit of an equity raise recently. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
We did. We're actually very excited to announce that we've actually finished our seed round. It's behind us now, and we can take that money and actually help build the product that our customers need to make them more secure, right? And again, that's how society wins, buddy.
That's how society wins. And I love that sometimes there are these moments in the development of a business. Often there's the initial assumption of risk, and then there's the scramble of trying to get things done by your bootstraps, right? That's why it's called bootstrapping. Yeah. And then you get to a stage where you've got some traction, you've got some customers, you've got some metrics that you can start to present, that you can convince others that perhaps might not be yourselves to say, you know what, there's something in this. So congratulations on that latest raise, that latest raise, and we're looking forward to seeing where Securestack goes from now.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
A wonderful gentleman and well pitched. At the beginning of tonight's event, Ella Foster presented a solution for food security, and our next presenter is attacking the exact same problem from a different angle. You see, these massive issues exist for us in our world: climate change, food security, a range of different factors that we must address, and we need lots and lots of different enterprises having a bit of a go from different angles, using the relative expertise of those founders. One such company is called Stacked Farm. They're based in the beautiful Burleigh Heads on the Gold Coast. And I hinted at my introduction speech at the beginning of today that the Gold Coast is the enterprise city. We have over 60,000 registered businesses here on the Gold Coast. As I mentioned, more per capita than any other major economic region in Australia. And why wouldn't you come to the Gold Coast to start your business? Not only is it the most magical place to live and to raise a family with ultimate, beaches up on one side, the hinterland and waterfalls on the other, But also there's an emerging and burgeoning industry base that exists. Yes, traditional strengths in construction and tourism, but that is now being supplemented by other industries. Who would have thought that one of the most progressive rocket ship companies, space techs in Australia, would be based here on the Gold Coast? And so we see the future of farming being delivered by a local startup based in beautiful Burleigh Heads, taking a novel approach to delivering on food security. Tonight we have the presence of the Chief Commercial Officer for Stack Farm, and it's Michael Spencer, and he's about to deliver his pitch to us to hear. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks, Baden. So Stack Farms, we were founded in 2017 here on the Gold Coast, and we've just come out of an intensive research and development period where we've now delivered version 3 of the farm, which sees a fully autonomous end-to-end system. The farm's capable of delivering a wide range of product, and we're extremely excited to also share that all the software and the hardware that has been developed for that farm has been developed. It's here on the Gold Coast. It's owned by the company, and the majority of the manufacturing for that hardware has also been done here on the coast. So some general facts about obviously traditional farming and what's going on out there. A 50% population increase is due by 2050. We're seeing arable land and topsoil degradation only further increasing. 43% of water resources available are going towards traditional farming methods. And to be able to accommodate that, we need to see a 70% increase in agriculture to support this. So future farming, what does it look like? What does it mean? We like to refer to it as precision farming. Essentially, we're able to control every aspect of the production and grow cycle of the plant. We're able to monitor and tend to the needs of the plant throughout the whole aspect of that. And this allows us to produce a high quality product that is consistent, that is meets the needs of where we need to take the future of farming. Our product also lets us co-locate our facilities, which is probably one of the most important things, next to our end users. This obviously sees the food miles travelled for our product greatly reducing, and the carbon footprint required to deliver our produce coming down substantially. So the Stack Farm difference, just to touch on a few key features of what we're doing. Really the group has been focusing on nailing quite a few important pieces for our sector. The key features of the farming really comes from the end-to-end automation of the farm. It solves a range of issues in terms of product quality, in terms of degradation of the product. There's no human interaction with the product from seeding right through to bagging. In terms of the pick and place technology, so the robotic systems in the farm itself go a long way to supporting the farm's scalability and servicing the farms efficiently and safely. We're also the software system behind the farm, the automation piece that monitors every aspect of the farm itself, allows the group to really deliver a high quality product that really reduces the amount of resources required. To give you an example, 95% less water than traditional farming goes into producing a product, it's a massive win in that respect. The other piece of it as well, most of the food quality itself, it starts to degrade after human touch, and the risk in terms of open field farming, herbicides, pesticides and the like required, chlorine treatment on the products to bring it up to spec. We don't need any of that by being able to produce a product in the closed environment. We're able to essentially eliminate the external weather, obviously from being a major factor, but also a range of pests, molds, bacteria and the like. We don't see that risk in our type of farming. So in terms of the product itself, we're essentially one of the safest products in the market. Really coming down from being able to eliminate a lot of the external factors, the limited human interaction the whole way through the process sees us really reduce a number of risks that traditional farming has. It's certainly on the other side of it in terms of employment and labour required. The reduction in the farm itself, because of the automation piece, the operating farm and the servicing of the farm is a much lower risk environment. The industry overview, just to give you some information about that. There's some general stats about where the industry is headed and what's going on in the marketplace. The industry itself's come a long way in the last 3 to 5 years. There's quite a few global players out there that have really scaled up in the last 2 years. They've been focusing on, as previously mentioned, speed to market. And by doing so, they've really left the automation piece behind. So a lot of those groups are now starting to try and solve for that. They're going through the processes and trying to retrofit their farms with end-to-end automation, which obviously has a range of problems. So our group's come out of that period of time, probably a little bit longer than the global competitors, but we're very confident that our farm can meet the needs of certainly the economy here in Australia and delivering farming best practice. In terms of the domestic food chain, the top end of that slide really shows what a product life cycle looks like when it leaves the farm. There's a range of steps in between before it ends up with the end consumer. Vertical farming, what Stacked Farm are doing, the industry itself sees a lot of those steps taken away. By co-locating farms close to your end customer, you're really eliminating much of that process. Obviously the delivery in terms of benefits to the economy and society are increased, but certainly from a food shelf life, that's where the end customer and the sales, the retailers are really looking for value add gains. So, by doing so, co-locating our farms close to distribution centres, close to the end customers, we're picking up meaningful days in terms of shelf life. Just a quick touch on the products that we're able to deliver at this point in time. A wide range of leafy greens, herbs, they're the staples for us in the vertical farming space. We've been moving into some fruits and vegetables, testing into that space. In terms of, to give you an idea, around the products itself, we're able to deliver from seed to harvest anywhere from 9 to 28 days, depending on the product. Traditional farming's anywhere from 45 to 60 days. So straight away, by controlling the environment from the light application, the nutrient content, the oxygen levels in the room, the humidity in the room, we're able to modify and enhance the grow environment to get the best results in terms of delivery of that product. What it also does is really enhances the flavour profile, the texture and the quality of the product. So the consistency that's coming out of these farms is second to none. Where consistency in the broadacre space or traditional farming, they might be able to produce volume, but you'll notice yourself as you go to the grocery store, seasonality and product quality varies throughout the year. So for us, that's really exciting, and that's a huge point of difference, that the quality of the product, consistency of the product all year round is maintained. In terms of the product itself, to give you an idea, with the traditional farming methods here in Australia, there's regions that obviously operate. So you're talking Southern Australia, Queensland, they turn on and off throughout certain periods of the year, basically due to climate. So farms, the major producers here in Australia will have a couple of farms operating in Australia, and they'll turn on and off regions depending on what the season looks like and the best growing conditions. So a single farm might only operate for anywhere from 6 to 8 months a year and produce anywhere from sort of 3 to 5 crops, and that's if the weather conditions are suitable. Where in our style of farming, vertical farming, we're able to do up to 17 crops a year and all year round. So we eliminate huge problems at traditional farming, and this is not only Australia, this is globally. We're seeing interest from Europe and from Asia and in the Middle East about solving for their problems. In terms of the superior quality, we're talking about it before, the texture and the taste, we're able to tune the product to that. The product itself meets organic certification. We haven't gone down that path yet. The certification needs to be rewritten to include indoor farming. It's done that in the States. It took a process to be able to achieve that. We're looking forward to going down that path. The safety quality of the product is second to none. With no human interaction from seeding right through to bagging, The product doesn't need to be washed, it doesn't need to be chlorine treated. It essentially, that in itself sees the product, the shelf life of the product materially enhanced. It's essentially bagged and into the cold chain at the time of harvesting. And then the other side of it in terms of the quality of the product, the heavy metal content is significantly reduced, and that's really off the back of the lighting. The lighting that we use allows us to really see that problem solved for. So facilities, just to touch on, we've got our facility in Burleigh Heads. It's a 200 square metre facility down there that is purely research and development. That's from the automation, the rack design and the product testing. We'll continue to use that facility to make improvements and enhancements as we move along in our journey. We're on track to deliver the first commercial facility, large scale, next year, and that's in the order of 5,000 square metres in Victoria. That'll see rack heights, that'll see heights of up to sort of 16 metres, 12 metres high for the building, and 45 metre runs for the farm itself. We're looking forward to delivering on our commercial ambitions for the farm next year, and we're full steam ahead to make sure that's a reality. The management team, just to touch on briefly, so really good mixture of people in the team. So from the technology side, the Chief Technology Officer, we've got mechatronics and automation engineers in our team, we've got skilled fabricators that bring their visions to life. On the food plant side, we've got horticulturalists and agronomists that tend to the product life cycle, and the commercial team has a pretty deep history in food production, 25 years I should say. Previous business had over 2,000 staff. They delivered 13 plus kitchens globally and group revenues north of $450 million. So we'd like to think that we're covering off a good mixture of what's going to be required to see our business succeed. And we look forward to the journey into next year. And as we do that, we're only going to be adding to our team to resource out. So keep an eye out for roles for the group into next year, and certainly if there's any further information, get in contact with us via our website. Thank you.
Wow, my mind is totally blown at the moment. Michael, tell me more. I've been intrigued by about 7 different statements that you've made tonight. 95% reduction in water. Also, there's this thing I'm just really trying to get my head around. We've got the move from an agricultural economy in the late 1600s, 1700s to an industrialised economy with the advent of the steam engine, right? Totally changing the way that we could farm and removing the production of food away from the consumption of food. That's been happening for centuries, and now we've got technology that enables us to be able to do at efficiency levels the exact opposite, bring our farms back to where the consumer is. Tell me where this is headed. Are we totally reversing the way in which things have been done and for the better? Is it just technology that is enabling this to be done? Where do you see this going in the vision that sits behind Stacked Farm?
Yeah, thanks, mate. So technology is definitely a key to it. It really will help us. The food wastage problem is phenomenal. We're able to reverse engineer that so that essentially we're meeting customer demand. We're not growing crops and expecting there to be a market at the other side. So it gives us the ability to meet on-demand customer needs. It's really interesting. The sector's relatively immature by nature. We're only 3 to 5 years into commercial farming. Not even that for the large-scale guys, but we're certainly seeing applications in the animal feed space. So fodder for animal feed. We can head down that path. That comes back to giving back more land for other purposes. We're seeing other products, root vegetables, things like that, starting to come into the mix. Can we look at growing these things commercially? And certainly the plant protein space, which is certainly coming to the market and new, can we play a role in supporting that? So look, it's exciting. There's definitely more efficiencies coming through our industry. So a lot of the challenges that our industry is facing, has faced, will only continue to get better. So we're excited to see where it ends up.
Magic. Thanks, Michael. Very well pitched. Can't wait to see where things go. You might be seeing with the progression of these businesses that they're attacking significant problems and using some specialised expertise, and sometimes they're at the early stage of what technology is enabling things to be done, and they need to go through this process of people becoming comfortable with that technology and how it can relate to solving a core problem. I've been loving seeing all of the comments coming through on Facebook and on Twitter and on LinkedIn, even where we're streaming live through our YouTube channel as well. There was a question that came up for Emma at Indirectory. Sam Reynolds from the Northern Gold Coast. Nice to hear from you, Samantha. She was questioning about. Yes, we've got this matching of brands to retailers. How do you perhaps protect the retailer from the quality and perhaps the reputation of the brand? If it's just an image, how does that go? And I've just had a little word on the side to Emma to find out where that sits. And of course, these are all things that progress and develop as organisations figure out what the market can accept. But certainly there's a bit of a rating system that is in the process. There's an ABN checker automatic process that's coming in to be developed within that platform. But at the moment, the reality is, as with most startups, they're just doing it manually. But that's what's happening. Often you have to do what's called concierging. Yes, it looks like it's actually being automated, but it's not really. The data's coming in here and then a human's doing the work in the background in order to make it work. Such is the startup way. So that brings us to our ultimate presentation for the evening, the very final pitch for the Bond University GC Demo Day 2020. And this is a business that's very dear to my heart. The two founders, Dr. Kate Morgan and Kirk Reynoldson, are both graduates of Bond University. They're close to home, close to heart. And I have to sort of fully acknowledge my involvement here. I've been an early beta adopter of their product and having a bit of a go at it. And they did recently a crowdfunded equity campaign, and my wife and I are both invested in this company. So full disclosure, all of my comments are biased based on my particular interest in this business. But often you come across founders who have a vision, right? And they have a vision for the way things should be. And I guess in the work that I'm in, I get pitched ideas, 1,000 times a year. And some pitches come across to you and you're like, oh, there's something in this. And often it's not because of the idea. Sure, the idea needs to be solid. There needs to be good trade winds behind it. There needs to be a core problem that's meaningful to a significant target market. All of those elements that make up a good business model. But more than that, you're looking for the hunger behind the founders. You're looking for the intent. You're looking for the connection to the problem. You're looking for the ability to hustle. And I don't think I've actually seen a set of founders on the Gold Coast that have hustled as hard as the two that are about to pitch you to you tonight. Not only have they been building a business from scratch, using their own resources, their own time, begging, borrowing, stealing from all those around them. They've been doing it by having a young family at the same time, juggling jobs, juggling a PhD at the same time, and always having an eye for what the future of what Eggy could be. So please welcome to the stage the co-founders of Eggy, Dr. Kate Morgan and Kirk Reynoldson.
Thank you, Baden. Love that there was a glitch because that is startup life to a T. So where were we? So yes, do you know your driver's license number or your Medicare card number? Do you know where that receipt or that warranty is for the vacuum you bought a little while ago? Do you know how much kids' school fees are, when they're due to come out? How much is in your account if you've got enough to cover them? Do you know when your council rates are due or when your car rego's due? No, neither did we. We were just a couple of busy parents doing our best in life. We were juggling all the balls in the air, and we had a million tabs open in our brains. And when it came to life admin, the office work of life, we had crap everywhere. We had bills and emails, we had cards in our wallets, we had policies up in cloud drives, we had birthday invites stuck on the fridge with a bit of Vegemite smeared on them. Our life admin was a big scrambled mess.
It was a shit show.
Yeah, it was.
It was
pretty bad. So much so that we got hit with a fine, an $800 fine, because we were driving around in an unregistered car because he forgot to pay the car. No, you forgot to pay the car.
We still fight over this. She paid it. She was meant to. I forwarded you the email.
And yeah, I guess we had a realisation and we just went, why is it this way? Why does it have to be this way? There's got to be a better way of doing this. We searched long and hard to find something. There wasn't anything out there. So we thought, well, how about we have a go at solving this problem? How about we build an app? Can't be that hard, right?
So the next thing we had to do was talk to an expert, someone who had actually built and scaled their own tech company. And we actually wanted to talk to them so they would talk us out of the idea, but they didn't. They actually said it was a really, really good idea. There was going to be a ton of work, a ton of execution, but it's a really, really good idea. So then the deal was he had to help us form the advisory board. And all our advisors are tech founders who have built and scaled multi-million-dollar platforms. And that sort of put in place the wheels of motion to help us build our Eggy Rockstar team, who are a group of like-minded individuals who are all working together towards a common goal to make Eggy a success.
So in collaboration with our Rockstar team, we built and earlier this year released the first version of Eggy. And it was based on a lot of research that we'd done. So we didn't want to build something that we just thought was a good idea. So we did a lot of research, found out about the market, what the pain points were and what a good solution would look like. So the current version of Eggy, right at the moment, it enables you to easily upload any life admin item. You can quickly retrieve it, have access to it at any time. You get reminders for important items and events so you don't forget about things. And you can securely share any item with any other Eggy user so that you both know when the car rego is due and you both don't forget about it.
You played it.
It's pretty early days for Eggy, but we have really big plans for where we want to take Eggy into the future. We want to automate the entire process of life admin, and we're going to do it across all life admin industry verticals.
We've been going for a really short time, but we got some massive runs on the board. Besides our Rockstar team, we won the opportunity to spend 3 months with Suncorp last year. We've raised nearly $900,000. We released our first version of Eggy in May this year. We put a call out to 100 people to help us test and iterate Eggy's first version, and only in Australia. We're currently at 3,000 users and we've been growing at nearly 40% month on month. And we haven't even done a hard launch yet. And what was the next bit? Even better than that is the Eggy Army. The Eggy Army. This is the best thing about it. We've got a community of legends who are engaged and hate life admin as much as what we do. They want a solution to this shit show ASAP.
So the opportunity that presents itself with Eggy is pretty massive. So at one end of the scale, there is billions of people who have to manage life admin every single day. And most of them hate it, just like you and I do. At the other end of the scale, there's no one that's owning this space. There's no one product out there that actually brings all your life admin together into the one place and puts it to work for you and makes it easier for you. Eggy is going to do that, and we're on our way.
We've put it all on the line. We have no plan B. We have to make Eggy's success. Katie's done her PhD and I was a professional athlete, and this is by far the hardest thing that we have ever done in our professional lives.
Yeah, so even if you want to be an Eggy user, it's free to download Eggy in the App Store. Android is coming out in the coming months, but we're...
Forgot to say, my bit.
Yeah,
yes, I forgot to say my bit. Okay, here we go. This is Eggy, this is startup. So one thing we wanted to talk about as well is anyone sitting out there, if anything has resonated with anything we've spoken about right now, is that the bit? Yeah, right now. If you feel like you can contribute and help us get Eggy to a place where we want to go as fast as we can and as efficiently as we can, get in touch now.
Eggy is life unscrambled.
Sorry, Dave.
What a wonderful way to finish off the presentation part of tonight's presentations. Eggy crew, tell us, this sounds like everybody needs it. Where do you make money? What's the business model that sits behind Eggy?
So the three key revenue pillars that are going to drive our business model, Brightest, payments is a natural Bills is a natural pain in the ass for everyone with life admin. So payments is our natural next step to complete the flow. That's pillar one. Pillar two, actually, since we've been in market, we have lots of people using Eggy for Work. So we're launching a version of Eggy for Work, which will be a premium feature set. And pillar three is off the back of our work with Suncorp, we're looking at API integrations with all of our wonderful service providers with life admin. So they can connect straight to Eggy, no more email, no more mailing, no more forget the car reg, okay, game on.
So instead of me getting an email from Gold Coast City Council saying your rates are due, your rates are overdue, your rates are overdue, that'll just be in Eggy, and Eggy will tell me pay it. Exactly. Maybe even I might be able to set it up that just automatically pays.
Automatically pay, yeah. We'll have a lot of different payment options there, mate.
If I wasn't sold before, I am now. Last question from me. Obviously, you're dealing with some sensitive data here, right? This is people's license numbers, perhaps social security information, safety deposit box numbers, the title deed to your house. So I don't know. There's definitely sensitive data here. Talk me through your security position that sits around this solution.
Yeah, so we know that security is massive. It's dealing with sensitive information, it's serious business, and knowing how important security was for our users and for us, we're Eggy users ourselves, all of our family's information is on Eggy. We knew that we had to make a big play for that. So we pitched to an international security expert, Daniel Greslak. He's the head of security at Atlassian, and he is now Eggy's security advisor. So Dan has guided us through, given us a lot of advice and basically setting up best practices. So things like all of Eggy's data lives on secure servers. All of the user's data is encrypted. We work with our professional security partners in cloud conformity who conduct real-time threat monitoring and compliance audits regularly on Eggy. To unlock the Eggy app, it has to have you can have Face ID or Touch ID or a PIN code enabled. So, in a nutshell, we're doing absolutely everything that we can possible to make sure that Eggy is secure as possible.
Congratulations on a wonderful pitch. Well done, founders of Eggy. That concludes the presentations for this evening. I think you'll agree we've seen a wonderful spread of businesses, a wonderful spread of founders, a real highlight of the true entrepreneurial capability of this great city in which we live. I'm going to join the rest of the crew up here on stage in a moment. You can just follow me up onto the stage. We're all standing in our 1.5 metres apart for COVID reasons. But I want to perhaps do a collective round of applause for our presenters for this evening, the cohort of 2020 Gold Coast 20 Demo Day. I want to leave you with a couple of points, some key takeaways that you might come from this evening's presentation. You can think that we're just ordinary people up here, are we not? Like this concept of being an entrepreneur is often put out there, what is a startup and can I actually do it and is it for me? And what you see before you is a collection of people from across the community, all different ages, different sizes, different backgrounds, different technical capabilities, different interests. Entrepreneurship is for everybody. It's a way in which you're able to take control of your own life, to design your own career, to be responsible for the own sources of income that are coming into your bank account. And it's available to anyone. And I can't do anything but to perhaps end this evening by saying if you're looking for an educational contribution for how you might be able to build that entrepreneurial capability, may you consider Bond University as the place to be for that source of education in your life. It's been wonderful to come to you from the cohort innovation space here in the Gold Coast Health and Knowledge Precinct. If you haven't been up here before, you should come up and see the activity that is occurring. There is some significant innovation that is making its way in this region, not only in medtech and in health tech, but in related areas. The new AI centre that's based out of Brisbane has located itself here at Cohort for its Gold Coast base. It's a real centre of innovative capability. It's been our pleasure to come to you from this wonderful space to present to you the 2020 version of Bond University's Gold Coast Demo Day. Great to be with you. Cheers.